Hey, Brian Sullivan, founder of Precise Selling, with your weekly video tip. Now, this week, we're talking specifically to you managers, leaders, or maybe you're somebody who someday wants to be a leader or manager. This is going to help you too. Now, if you find yourself in a management role within your company, you no doubt have a positive attitude, you got an aptitude to the job, meaning you're pretty good at it, and the performance over the years have backed it up. You worked purposely, you managed your time well, you did your tasks really well, and you showed passion and enthusiasm as a really good potential leader. So you did so good. As a result, you were pegged to move up the chain of command. And chances are, if you're a manager right now, you remember that day vividly when the VP, the manager, supervisor sat you down with a good cup of coffee and a smile and broke the good news to you. You were ready for the big time. You were about to become a manager. Now, from there, that leader gave you your orders, told you what needed to get done with that new team of yours, sent you on your way, confident that you would confidently attack the job. Now, here's the problem. If you're like many who are just thrown into a leadership role, like me, like I was back in the day, you had no or little formal management or coaching training. So you were forced to kind of figure it out on your own. And in the process, there were no doubt times when you found yourself frustrated that your new team of direct reports didn't do the job the same way that you did. And you're thinking, how can this be? Well, certainly that had to get fixed. So to do so, you had to put your little personal signature on the new role. And that was going to take some occasional tough love, right? But for some reason, the more you dished out these demands of the job to your team and your expectations, the more your team seemed to push back and sometimes even pulled away. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, my past role, I was really, really good at this. How can this be so damn difficult? All right, here's the truth. Too many managers are never trained how to lead others. Their employers mistakenly believe that the skills that make somebody a good tactical performer in one job, like sales, can easily be transferred to the role of coaching. But it's not always true. Now, this isn't to say that the best sales performer or maybe ops manager can't be a great leader, because they can. But just as there needs to be a repeatable process to consistently perform in those roles, for instance, a sales process or operational efficiencies, that's all process. There also needs to be a specific process when it comes to coaching your people. Now, I'm going to give you some tips. The following is what we call the Precise Leadership Formula, and it can be used by any new manager or seasoned leader to influence a team or an individual in a really purposeful way. And if you do what I'm going to ask you to do by your next coaching session, you're going to review these following steps and you're going to plan out the expected flow of your coaching conversation, right? So will it go exactly as planned just because you planned it out? Probably not. But by thinking through the session in advance and by making notes prior to your coaching session, there's no doubt that you're going to accomplish your objective a lot more quickly and easily. So, step number one, I want you to look at this almost like a sales call. So you've got a Friday morning appointment, coaching session, debrief, call it whatever you want, with one of your, in this case, let's say, salespeople. Now, you would never expect your salesperson to show up to a big sales call unprepared. But why do so many managers just say, hey, let's jump on the call, let's jump on the phone? But we don't think about, what do we want that person to do, my teammate, do as a result of that coaching call? So step number one, you got to prepare. You've got to think of your objective. And what you'll do right out of the gate is you're going to identify the importance of the situation. So think through, what will I say to establish the objective and importance of the discussion with the person I'm coaching? Think through what details about the situation you're going to look for from the associate. In other words, what might they come back with? What might they ask for? What can I give? What can I ask for in return? So now that we're purposeful, we have a good, clear objective. First thing we have to do after that is It's build respect and trust. Right? Bring the walls down with the person we're going to coach. So set a positive tone for the discussion. So think through, hey, what am I going to say to bring the walls down? It might be complimenting them on a good year. It might be talking about what they did over the weekend, something to build a nice foundation of the conversation. E, engage them with questions. So you're going to seek information. You're going to identify and uncover issues and concerns. So think through, what questions will I ask to get the associate to open up? Or maybe even to sell themselves, or to prepare them to sell others, or to get a bunch of little yeses. Have those questions all prepared in front of you in a notepad, because no doubt you're bringing a notepad into that session anyway, right? Next, convey your solution. So think through what they might say to you as a result of the questions you ask. You're taking great notes in front of you, but then it's time to convey your solution. So think, what ideas do you have to help this person or team be successful? What are you going to say to explore other ways to help them? How can you help that person or team explore where they can find needed resources? What support can you provide? That's where you're really helping them. The I is indecision. This means we have to be prepared with them coming back and saying, yeah, but, or why do you think this way, right? We may get a little bit of this, and that's okay. You know, if we're prepared, it's going to prevent us from being defensive. We're going to keep those walls down. So if you get an objection or concern from your associate, confirm the concern has been addressed, right? Think, what might this person or team be concerned about? What does it really mean? Now, what am I going to say to uncover those concerns if they're sort of clamming up? And what questions might I ask to sort of peel back that onion? The S is secure agreement. Agree on a plan for meeting objectives and tracking progress. So think of specific actions to take, including contingency plans if things go south. And then confirm the needed resources. Where can they get help from you and from others, right? Confirm how and when to track the progress, which is so important. And then the E, explore for other coaching opportunities. You know, I find the best time to coach someone is when you just sort of coached them, right? If things went really, really well there, I might as well ask the question, hey, what other ways can I help you, right? How can I put you in the right frame of mind? Or how can I get you with the right people? You see, by being more precise before, during, and after each session, you're going to find it easier to lead your team towards the vision, mission, and all the objectives that you have. And in addition, you're going to find that your team will be more excited to follow your lead. But you got to make these steps a habit. And you're going to find yourself surrounded by a team that looks to you as their leader. And that's a leader who leads on purpose and with purpose. Now, often we become, as managers and leaders, we forget our own objective. What is the biggest? Let's talk sales leaders. What's our biggest job? Well, our biggest job as sales leaders, sales managers, is to help our people become better at selling. It's selling sales to salespeople. But you know what often happens to those sales managers? They get so caught up in the reports and the CRM and they become what I call taskmasters. So they're really good at moving stuff around, and they get so busy, too busy, to schedule time on their most important objective, which is creating great salespeople, helping them become more prepared, helping them make more calls, helping them become better on their Zoom presentations, helping them with their negotiation skills. That's what you have to be great at. Why? Because if you create champion salespeople, guess who they're going to love? They're going to love you. It's not why we do it, but it's an awful nice byproduct of it. They're happy, you're happy, and we're smoking the competition. That's your job, and it only comes through planned coaching. I hope you enjoyed this week's session. Plan your coaching sessions like you would expect your people to plan their biggest sales call. So I hope you enjoyed this. See you next week for your precise selling tip.